Well, hi there. Welcome to ChessBase Workshop. I'd like to begin this week's workshop with a little question for you. Why is a cliche a cliche? Now, you're probably thinking, Steve, you have lost your mind. What are you talking about? Believe me, this is relevant, okay? Just bear with me. You know what cliches are? They're those little expressions that everybody uses, and they use it all the time. They overuse it. Stuff like, a stitch in time saves 9, or don't count your chickens before they're hatched, or whatever it happens to be. You know why cliches become cliches? I already gave you the answer, because people use them all the time. They beat them to death. But do you know why they use them so much? Is because there is a kernel of truth to them, a little nugget of truth in every cliche. The cliche I'm thinking of in this week's workshop is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now think back to the last couple of workshops, what we've been talking about. We've been talking about database files becoming corrupted. We've talked about getting weird search results because your search booster file gets corrupted. We've talked about what happens if a database becomes corrupted and you want to try to have ChessBase repair it for you. But there are going to be times when you have a corrupted database that ChessBase cannot fix. It can't repair the files. The database is junk. It's damaged beyond repair. It needs to be deleted. It happens. Trust me, I don't care how careful you are. Someday, if you use a computer for long enough, not just ChessBase but any program, you're going to have data become corrupted. You're going to have a doc file you've been writing for months suddenly not open. You're going to have a video file you've been editing suddenly just be trash. It happens. That's why you back things up. Computer professionals will tell you over and over and over again, this is why you need to make backups. ChessBase will make backups for you, and the only way they can make it easier would be if the thing just did it by itself. But you have to tell it to make a backup. You're about 2 or 3 clicks away from backing up a database. It's very simple to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Basically, you back up a database for the simple reason that at some future point, if the database you're working with becomes corrupted, you can replace it with an earlier backup. Now, when should you back up databases? Well, anytime you do any major work on a database, you add a bunch of games, either from copying them in or you've added them manually. If you've added analysis, if you've added annotations, anytime you've done significant work to a database, you need to make a backup right away. That way, if the next time you go to open up that database, you get nothing but data errors instead of games, you can replace that database with a backup that you made earlier. I know everybody hates making backups. Everybody says, what a pain, what a pain. Yes, I understand that it is a pain, but it's also less painful to make a backup of your data than it is to lose it forever and never have it again. I have crashed 2 hard drives in the last year. There are things that I put on a hard drive, figured, oh, I'll back it up later, didn't back it up, and they are gone, and I will never have them again. So believe me, I know what I'm talking about here. You know, we're talking about mechanical devices, we're talking about magnetic media, bad things can happen. So make sure you back up your databases. It's not critical to back things up that you have on a DVD already, like the ChessBase Opening Encyclopedia or the Mega Database. You've got them. But if you add games to these databases, you're going to want to make a backup. Or if you have a database like this one I created on a particular opening, you're going to want to back those up. There's a couple different ways to start backing up a database, to start the process. One of them is you click once on the database to highlight it, as I've done here. Go over to the Tools menu, go to Database, and there's your command, Backup Database. You could do it that way, or you can right-click on the database icon, go to Tools, oh, there it is again, Backup Database. Or if you want to use the keyboard command, if you're really quick with your fingers, Control-Z is the command for backing up the database. Well, let's click on this command and see what happens. What we get is a dialog that says Archive Database. You have 2 choices here, encrypted and unencrypted. Basically what it is a choice between encrypting it with a password protection, or just backing it up into essentially what is a zip file or a ARC file or a RAR file or any other kind of compressed data. If I'm talking over your head, don't worry about it. All this does, what this command does, it takes all the multiple files of a ChessBase database and compresses them into a single file. Just packages them neatly all together into one file. That's what you're doing here. Your only choice is whether you want to password protect it or not. Now, unless you are a grandmaster with top secret opening analysis in your database or whatever it happens to be, there is no earthly reason for the average player to password protect a database. The only reason you'd have to password protect it is you have sensitive information in that database that you want to keep away from the prying eyes of a curious world. But if you want to password protect it, I'll show you how. You just click on encrypted, and that activates these two parts of the dialog. Type in your password, and then you type it in again. I will tell you that if you forget or lose your password, we can't help you. Please don't write to me. Please don't call me. Please don't call ChessBase and say help, 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 because we can't hack it to get into your encrypted file. That's why I say, unless there's something in there you absolutely positively do not want another living soul to see, you don't need to password protect your database. If you decide to do it, please, please, please write down your password, put it in a secure place where only you know where it is, and then remember where you put it. I've known people, well, I wrote my password down somewhere, but I forgot where I put it. Well, you remember, you're out of luck, because we can't help you. So don't password protect it unless you absolutely positively have to. For this demonstration, I will do an unencrypted, non-password protected backup. So you select unencrypted, click OK. Now comes your Windows File Select dialog, and what it does, it defaults to the database, or I'm sorry, to the folder in which the database is located. My B13, B14 database is in a folder called Bases. I have made a subfolder called Archives, which I will now double click on, and I have also previously made a folder with today's date. Today is October 2nd, 2009, so I have a folder 2009-10-02 in which I'm going to put this single file down here. This zipped up compressed file has the same name as the database, B13 to B14, but with a file extension of CBV. That is the file extension for archived ChessBase databases. Why do I put it in a database with today's date? I'll tell you why. At one time, I used to overwrite my backups with other backups, and unbeknownst to me, I had a database that was already corrupted, and I was backing it up and overwriting previous backups with a corrupted backup. One of the files had gone bad to where a couple of the games were unreadable. Nothing real important, but it was really frustrating that when I opened up my backup, those couple of games in that file were still messed up. So what I prefer to do now is I create folders with the date as the name of the folder, so I know when I made the backup. I'll double click on it. This folder's empty. I haven't backed up a database yet today. And what will happen is if I decide to open this up at a later date, it should be alright. If I make later backups, I'll make another one in a couple days when I add some more games to this database. If that would somehow become corrupted, hey, no problem. I'll go back to this earlier backup I made today, which should be alright. So we click Save, and you see a status bar go whizzing across. Bing, done that quick. Wasn't a huge database, didn't have a lot of annotations and stuff in it, but it was about 40,000 games, and it just whipped through it in no time at all. You just click OK to clear this dialog, and you're done. The database is backed up. Now, how do you open up a previous backup that you've made? How do you open up a CBV file? You do it just like any other database. You go to the File menu, go to Open, Open Database, and here we are. Here's my folder, 10/02/2009. There's the CBV file. I click on it. I click Open. Now, normally what I would do, by the way, this file will uncompress, will open up into individual files in the same folder the CBV file is currently located in. What I would normally do would be to copy this file over into the same folder with the original corrupted database. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save a little time and just open it up right here just to show you how it's done. So you just go to File, Open, and select your database, which would be this CBV file. Click Open, and it uncompresses. And here we go. It opens up. There's my games. I can use it right now. What I do have now, though, is I have two databases up here, which are basically the same. My original, and this is my archive. If the original is corrupted and I want to get rid of it, I can right click and select delete physically, and that'll just eliminate that database. Then if I want later, I can always go back and I can move the files of this B13, B14 database. It's entirely up to you. But I do stress, once again, please, please, please do back up your databases. I can tell you from hard experience, I've lost ChessBase databases in the past due to file corruption. I've lost 2 hard drives in the last year, and I've lost all kinds of stuff that I'll never have back. So making backups is a very important thing. Also, by the way, for this demonstration, I did make the backup on the hard drive that the original database is on. If you're worried about hard drive crashes, you can purchase external hard drives, and they are dirt cheap. By the way, I have one that's about a half a terabyte, and I think I might have paid about $100 for it. And I use that thing all the time now to back up my data. Of course, if that goes bad, then I'm still out of luck. Nothing's permanent, but at least I've got copies of something in case my computer's hard drive crashes. If you're not working with big databases, or you're not working with a lot of databases, you can also purchase a very small flash drive, and they're beyond dirt cheap. They're practically giving them away now. You can get a 4 gig flash drive that just snaps into a port on your computer. You can get them for about $10 now. They're dirt cheap, and I encourage you, if you have databases that you care about, that you don't want to have to spend time and lose a lot of time and lose hours reconstructing, then please do make backups, and please back them up onto separate drives, either external hard drives, flash drives, DVDs, whatever, CDs, whatever you want to use. But that's how you ought to be backing up your databases. Until next week, have fun.